Hello, friends. Welcome to the Unbreakable Woman's Journey, where we talk about leadership, resilience, and the real stories behind building something meaningful when you didn't start with a manual. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into leadership role and thought, okay, apparently I'm in charge now? And at that exact same time realized you had absolutely no idea how you were going to fix everything that was already broken. Yes, that was me. And when I first stepped into clinic leadership, it was pretty daunting. And at and the situation I walked into was not calm. And it definitely was not simple. The clinic was already hurting. There was a collapse in partnership, and there was a lot of uncertainty. No system was really in place. Processes were tangled, and somehow the new manager, me, was supposed to stabilize the entire place all at once. Now, if you've ever walked into a clinic like that, you know the feeling. You can sense it the moment you walk through the door. People are polite, but there's tension under the surface. Staff morale is fragile, and everyone is watching the new leader. And everyone quietly hopes you know what you're doing. So, hello friends, my name is Jules, and for 27 years I've helped build and lead a comprehensive rheumatology clinic here in Hawaii. But when I first stepped into the role, I didn't have a leadership degree. I did not have management training, and I didn't have a playbook. I didn't have a clear roadmap. What I had was a responsibility and a clinic that needed stability. And quickly, I realized something. It was very uncomfortable. If I tried to fix everything I thought was not working right immediately, I would probably make the situation worse because I didn't understand the system yet. I didn't know the personalities, and I did not know the politics of the office. I did not know the hidden fractures underneath the surface. Inside my head, it felt like a storm. So instead of trying to overhaul the clinic on day one, I did something that felt almost counterintuitive. I slowed down. I observed. I listened. And somewhere in the early chaos, a question quietly began guiding my decisions. A question that would stay with me for 27 years of leadership. And the question is simple. What is the next responsible step? That's the question. What is the next responsible step? Not the perfect step, not the step that fixes the entire clinic, just the next responsible step. Now, when I say that today, it sounds calm and wise. But at that time, 27 years ago, it was more like survival. Because when you're new in leadership, your brain thinks you're supposed to know everything. I mean, everything. From the time we open to the time we close the clinic. And then when you don't know everything, which was definitely my situation, you start to feel like you're failing. But something interesting happens when you stop trying to solve the whole system in your head. You start focusing on what actually needs to happen next. Not tomorrow, not 6 months from now, just the next responsible move. For me, the first step was observation. I watched how the front desk actually worked and not how the policy said it would work. I listened to the nurses, and I talked to the billing department. I paid attention to the personalities, the pressure points, the little things that people don't put in a procedure manual. Because in healthcare, a clinic isn't just a bunch of processes put together. It's people. And every department touches the next one. If the front desk schedules something wrong, the nurses feels it. If the nurses are overwhelmed, the providers feel it. If the billing gets behind, the entire system feels it. So I had to learn the system before I tried to fix the system. And honestly, that was harder than it sounds. Because when you're the new manager, you feel like you should be doing something dramatic. That's what I thought. You want to walk in and say, okay, everyone, here's the new plan. But I learned pretty quickly that leadership isn't about dramatic moves immediately. It was about taking a responsible step. And that same question kept showing up again and again over the years. When we built our x-ray room, I had no business feeling confident about it. I never managed a construction project before. I didn't know the regulations. I didn't know the radiation safety requirements. And I did not know the difference between what the contractor said and what we needed from the Department of Health would actually approve. All I knew was that our clinic needed it. So there I was sitting in meetings with architects and engineers nodding while they threw around words like lead shielding, scatter radiation, and structural load. And I was sitting there secretly thinking, Lord, what did I just agree to build? Some days it felt like I was learning a new language. Other days it felt like I was trying to assemble a puzzle without a picture on the box. But every time I felt overwhelmed, I came back to that one question. Do you remember what that one question is? What is the next responsible step? That's the question. Then COVID arrived. And if you were in healthcare during that time, I don't need to explain it. You remember the feeling. Every week, the rules changed. Every day, the ground shifted. And it felt like trying to stand steady on a shoreline where the sand keeps sliding out from under your feet. It was a process no one could even grasp. Our patients were immunocompromised, fragile, high risk, and some of them couldn't even leave their own home. Let flying alone to Oahu in Honolulu for treatment was just not part of the equation. So our nurses became the ones who had to move. Week after week, they boarded those inter-island flights to Hilo, then to Kauai the next, carrying coolers of medication, PPE stuffed in backpacks, and the quiet understanding that if they didn't make it, someone's treatment would be delayed. Someone's health would take turn in the wrong direction. Airports felt like ghost towns. Everyone stood in security lines with fear in their eyes above their mask. Every flight felt uncertain. Would it get canceled? Would restrictions change again? Would the next rule make travel impossible next week? Some weeks it felt like we were solving puzzles where the pieces kept shifting, and flight schedules, quarantine rules, staffing shortages, patient needs, everything was in shortage. And again, I didn't have perfect answers. No one really did. But I had the same compass I had learned to trust. Choose the next responsible step. One step, one flight, one patient, 1 week at a time. That's how we kept going. One step at a time, asking the same question again and again. What is the next responsible step? Not just for my department, but for the whole system, the clinic as a whole. Now, for the nurses, the doctor, and for the patients, because at the end of the day, every decision in a clinic should move us forward towards the same mission, which is to deliver exceptional patient care.